Okay, what's up, guys?
Alrighty.
It's
Well, I was
Logan
a
and
geezer.
Justice, and the first game was not even close. Care to talk about it, Justice?
It was a defensive struggle like we thought for Washington, but the Eagles scored more than I expected. The game is not actively over. It's at the 2-minute warning. Right now it's 55 to 23 with the Philadelphia Eagles on top. And uh, we were correct in what we believed about Saquon Barkley, what we believed
Yep.
about Jalen Hurts. Did I expect the game to go so lopsided? Not at all.
Yeah,
Um,
it was
you
nuts.
know, and sadly, on Washington's part, you can't even blame Jalen Daniels too much. A lot of it was turnovers and not from him.
Fumbles, three fumbles.
Fumbles, three fumbles. I think we had a kickoff return, running back, and then Austin Eckler, I think, lost one, right?
Yeah, he did.
That is three ginormous fumbles, and that is
I mean, it's
ooh,
it's
that
it's
is
crazy.
rough as a team, you know, especially for the rookie. He's coming into this game, underdog. And, while, let's take a look at his stats, 29 for 48, 255 yards, one touchdown, one interception. That while that's not like
Crazy.
incredible, it's good stats for him. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, hard.
255 yards, that's, of course. But he got outplayed by Jalen Hurts, who is, of course, in this scenario, he was, the veteran. Even though Jalen Hurts only threw 20 passes for 246 yards, he threw one touchdown, no interceptions. I don't think Philadelphia Eagles had a single turnover. Um, the best rusher of the game ended up coming down to Jaden Daniels, 6 carries for 48 yards and one touchdown. And Saquon Barkley, the Eagles rusher, had 15 carries for 118 yards and three touchdowns, which if your running back does, so little in a game that the quarterback is the best runner with, not that amazing of stats, 48 yards is like nothing. You're not beating a guy who's running 118 yards, which is an entire football field, and having three touchdowns. There's just no way.
Yeah, that's very true. I
Even
mean,
there was, yeah,
yeah. When the game first started, I mean, it wasn't like I knew from the start that this game was going to be challenging for the Commanders to win. Sorry about my dog.
no, it's good. I can't. I
I
don't think
knew
we can hear it.
you can't.
No,
Okay.
no, no.
Starting off like 18 plays on the first drive is just nuts. I knew it wasn't gonna work out for them just because of how hard it was for them to move the ball early on. Uh, and I don't like the idea of kicking the field goal after you went for it twice. You know what I mean?
No.
I didn't like that
Um,
idea.
yeah, it's exactly what I was talking about earlier. You know, like whatever your game plan has been, just follow it. It's the same thing with the Lions, where everybody was upset that they went for it and did trick plays. They did that all season. Their fans loved it. It worked, so they kept doing it, and it ended up being probably one reason they
Yeah,
didn't beat Washington Commanders. But
yeah,
there's no reason for them to go in that game, quit everything they're doing, what made them good. I was seeing, video after
going
video,
for
them
it.
doing trick plays, going for it, and then winning games. And they're what
Yeah,
15-2 when they lost. So it's like you wouldn't switch up your game plan, but I mean, going into this game, Washington, I was a little bit confused in the first quarter. There were a lot of runs, and the runs were going nowhere. There
yeah,
was
they were,
less
and
throwing.
that hurt them for the rest of the game because they didn't get like they already were playing from behind. They lost the turnover battle 0-3, three fumbles. Not even well, actually, I take that back now. 0-4 because Jaden Daniels just threw a pick, but they had three fumbles. You got to protect the ball,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, I mean, as soon as Saquon Barkley broke that run off first run of the game, you kind of knew what kind of game it was going to be, but I didn't expect it to be this big of a blowout. Expected it to be maybe 35-14, not 55-23. I just think that's crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I really thought that was crazy too. I really couldn't believe that. I'm actually looking at the stats right now for the Washington Commanders versus Detroit Lions game. Jane Daniels threw, he threw a lot of passes. He threw almost 300 yards and two touchdowns. He did not. throw like to that standard today. Like that is
Yeah.
not what he did.
I
And
feel like part of that was they put him in a bad situation. Like he was playing from behind all game. He was having to throw the ball up. He was getting sacked. They were playing pressure on him, and it's like, what are you gonna do if you're him? You know, you have no wide receivers. Your best pass catcher is probably your tight end, or it's I guess you have Terry McLaurin, but what did he do all game? I didn't see him. I don't know.
yeah,
Um,
no, I'm
yeah,
with you on that. I mean, looking at the stats, the best receiver was Austin Eckler, which I mean, you don't ever want your best receiver probably to be your tight end, and
yeah. Oh, and the,
it's
the game just went final.
yeah, the game just went final. It's finally over, and looking at how everything went, this game it's a confusing game. I mean, it was just like they did things that I swear they wouldn't have done, things that I didn't
Yeah,
expect.
and it
And
it
for
felt like it
now,
was closer than the final score. I don't know. Like I feel like both teams played like an equally good game, but the Eagles were finishing drives and the Commanders just weren't doing that. You know. I
no,
mean, time of the possession is
that's
the same. Look at that. Look at that time.
that's yeah, it's the exact same 29-29, pretty much split middle. But I think the thing is it's the same with many games. You look at the number 55-23, but in the end you have to take that number with a little bit of a grain of salt
Yeah,
because there was also garbage time scoring where they just were like throwing passes and just trying like going on fourth down, giving up the ball. But I mean, still though, I mean the Eagles let I forget what his exact name was go. They let Will Shipley run 73 yards on
yeah.
them, which you
I
know
yeah.
that just it showed exactly what we saw against the Lions, where they were letting and let me get it up. I think I can actually get the run itself up, where they're letting Gibbs run sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Like big
just
chunk plays.
50 yards, 40 yards
Yep.
every time almost. And they split that between two running backs.
Yeah.
That just shows you.
Another thing I noticed is they were kind of undisciplined. There was a questionable call, that 3rd and 13, that PI in the end zone where the guy pulled his jersey. I don't know. What did you think about that? The one where Jalen Hurts rolled out to the left and they pulled the jersey a little bit, and Devontae Smith didn't catch it, but they called a PI leading to a touchdown. And I didn't really see it, but what do you think about that?
I have it right here in my notes. I say questionable flag question mark. That's exactly what I wrote down in my notes during that part. Um, I and my dad who was watching it with me, we were both very, we were confused about that call. That was a call that really wasn't needed. I think that was a huge turning point because that would have been fourth down.
Yep.
I mean, as the score shows, you know, maybe things would have been different if
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah,
call it.
I
But
really think that play and that that hit out of bounds on Barkley where they called a late hit.
yeah,
I really think that those two plays affected the game because that's
yeah,
so that 14 points, that's 6 points, and you don't know like
yeah.
what if the kicker pulls it? What if he does something? Then the Commanders have all the energy and then they score a touchdown, then they get a stop. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually, I also put that down in my note. I said a late hit out of bounds on Saquon gives the Eagles a huge first down. That that call was 100% deserved. That hit is very, that's as a football player, as someone who plays the sport. His foot was on the white. You know,
Yeah.
you shouldn't, and it wasn't even just like a push. He totally hit him. That was so unneeded.
Yeah, it was.
I think like from also looking at my notes, I think this Eagles team looked really good today,
They did.
and if they can get healthy before the Super Bowl, this can be an even better team because I
Yeah.
marked down that the center today was an issue,
Yep.
and I also had that Saquon was a little bit banged up. He still had an amazing game, but it looked like that one leg was giving him an issue. I think it was his right
Yeah.
leg, his calf, or something like that.
And then Jalen Hurts, he had a leg issue, but
Jalen
seemed
Hurts
fine.
had a
I
leg
I
issue,
didn't
but
see
he
anything.
seemed he actually looked fine to me today. He actually looked pretty good. I
Uh,
think the Washington Commanders were overwhelmed. I think
yeah,
by this defense, they weren't
I
used
agree
to a
with that.
defense like this.
Yeah, their defense really picked it up, and I think it was partially because the Commanders team is so young. Like you have a rookie QB, you have a none of these guys have ever been to playoffs. But before the game, I wrote down the keys to winning. I said to win, Washington needs to limit Saquon and get Hurts or get to Hurts with his hurt leg because if Hurts can't scramble, then I don't know. Like he kind of threw a lot from the pocket, and limiting Saquon was huge. Like if you just limit him, that offense is just it's so different, and they just couldn't do that. And then I also wrote down the Washington needed to protect the ball and create more explosive plays. They didn't do either. They fumbled the ball 3 times and had 4 turnovers. And for the Eagles, I said they had to run the ball efficiently and protect the ball, and that's
That's
exactly what
exactly
they
what they
did.
did. Yeah,
And they
exactly what they
can't
did.
rely on Hurts all day. They didn't. They ran the
They
ball a lot,
didn't
and
ran the ball a lot.
defense needs to pressure Daniels and force turnovers. And what did they do?
Exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Forced turnovers and they pressured him, which is what I was about to get into. Um, the pressure on Daniels was too much. He couldn't get throws off. He couldn't scramble that much. You know, he was taking
Yep.
sacks. Even like I think right out of the gate, in after halftime, their first drive back, 3rd and 20 after a sack, which they did not pick up after they checked down. I
Yep.
had 3 things just written down for Washington because I knew the Eagles were gonna win. Right here, I had just 3 basics for Washington to win. They need no turnovers, just like the Lions. They cannot turn over the ball. No fumbles,
Yep.
no interceptions, which they did not do. They fumbled pretty much immediately, then fumbled again, and then fumbled again, and then of course it ends with the interception towards the end of the game. I said the Eagles and Saquon need to play bad. Like Saquon needed to just not be able to get out the pocket.
Yeah.
He needed to get stuck behind the line of scrimmage, which is not.
Not what
First play
happened
of
at
the
all.
game. First play of the game for the Eagles. First snap of the entire game. What was it? Let me get up. Let me get up the stat. The first
60-yard
touch,
run.
a 60-yard run for Saquon Barkley. It took them one play. That was their first play of the entire game. And
And
after I saw that, that kind of
that
said it to me like, okay, if
yeah,
they're giving up 60 yards on the first play, and there's no, I don't,
it set the tone for the rest of the game. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, overall it wasn't a great game. I mean, it was entertaining to watch the offenses, but
oh yeah,
I don't
it
know.
was, yeah. I mean, it was fun to watch, see what they could do. Um, this Bills game starting too. I actually have it right on my phone right now. They're just doing the national anthem. I'm
Yep.
excited to see, of course, what can happen. Right now, Buffalo actually is changed to becoming. Oh, they're actually seen as
They're
people
fa
who are about to win. They're
yeah,
favored
they're
right now.
favored. Yeah, it was
Earlier, weren't
1.5 this
they
morning.
1.5
For
for
the
the
Chiefs.
Chiefs? Yeah.
Yeah.
So since then, I guess the script must have changed. The NFL gave them a call. The script must have changed up because they had to
I
change.
still have the Chiefs winning.
Las Vegas. The NFL gave them a call and said, Las Vegas, you might want to switch that number because they ain't winning. If you want to check our
Oh,
script, no.
you see these numbers right here though? I wonder if this
Yeah.
is going to play a factor because the Bills were 8-0 at home, just like the Chiefs, but
Jeez.
they're 5-4 at home, and the Chiefs are 8-0. So, I wonder what's going to happen with that
It is true. I guess,
home field advantage.
we really will see. Um, this game was, but looking over this game, for Washington Commanders, first year rookie Jalen Daniels,
It
like
was a great
just
year.
congratulations. It was a great year. Quarterback looked great. I mean, he didn't play trash. I mean, the veteran, you know, Jared Goff played
Did
worse
worse.
in
Yeah.
his playoff games than Jane Daniels did in both of his games. I mean, he threw 1 touchdown for 3 interceptions in the playoffs.
Yep.
And that is just unacceptable as a quarterback. I don't know how you expect to win throwing that many interceptions. And of course,
Yeah.
we all know what happened during that game. But these these stats look okay for the Washington Commanders, except for rushing. Zach Ertz, you cannot look too much on it, because it is really hard, to get reception, a bunch of yards, especially as a tight end, which is what I'm going to go into real quick.
Okay.
Commanders, when they played the Lions, were throwing deep passes quite a bit. I thought I remembered quite a bit of deep passes, but from looking at this game,
There's no explosive plays.
there was no explosive plays. I mean, I remember watching that game, and there was just people. They were throwing some deep passes. They were electric. They looked really good. Like this against, they had a Terry McLaurin had a 58-yard pass, touchdown. Of course, the defense, they had a pick six, multiple interceptions.
I think that the Lions defense is a lot worse than the Eagles. Partially because their defense was hurt, but the Eagles
their
defense
was
just looked
really hurt,
like a different animal compared to the Lions. And
yeah, they did not have enough. And it's what I saw at the Commanders, and it's why I came into this game with the thought in mind that the Commanders would have an issue, because they never saw anything like this. They never saw a defense like this.
And when they did see the Eagles, Jalen Hurts was hurt, and just like I said earlier, like they weren't gonna beat them because Jalen Hurts wasn't playing the last time he played this game, and look what happened. Just absolute blowout.
It's going to be, it's going to be hard for, I'm excited to see how they do, like in team built up for like next year, seeing if they can, maybe get some really cool players, some guys to join the team that could, really help them out. But I gotta say, for my Super Bowl, I got this as my Super Bowl right here.
Damn.
I don't know about Buffalo.
I don't know about Buffalo either.
I'm expecting the rematch of the Eagles Chiefs. I had this picture saved up. I even took this picture before the game, knowing how it was gonna go. I had this already ready. And,
before we're done, okay, we're gonna name the MVP of this game, and I bet we'll have the same answer. But I'm gonna count it on 3, okay? And we're gonna say our answer, and then we're gonna have to guess the MVP for next game, the following Chiefs Bills game. All right?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Saquon
Barkley. Of course.
All right. He was the MVP of the game. He had the most stats, and Jalen Hurts didn't do bad, but Jalen Hurts
gets carried. I can't even lie.
He didn't have the stats to win MVP.
Yeah,
3 touchdowns for Saquon, 60-yarder, punching it in when they couldn't do the tush push certain times.
Yep.
Which the tush push was, I mean, there were some times where it took him 3 tries. Sometimes it was getting really close. And I think I know what you're gonna say for the Chiefs game. The MVP for the Chiefs game. 3,
the refs.
2, 1. The refs. The refs are gonna be the MVP.
Yep, they definitely.
I will say this: there were not too many flags this game. And I think it took till like the second quarter almost to get the first flag. Which
there was
a start.
Oh, but
clearly seeing.
Sorry, before we end this, were you watching when they did the 4 false starts in a row, or the offsides or whatever?
Oh no!
Dude, at the goal line, it was crazy.
My god!
They jumped off sides trying to time it up perfectly, and they did it 4 times in a row to try to stop the push, and they couldn't stop it. But they ended up scoring a TD anyway. And they said that if they did it one more time, they'd give the Eagles a free touchdown. So that was interesting.
What?
I swear to God, look it up after this. But
I never knew that was a ruling.
Yeah,
I wish I would have seen that.
I didn't either. But I think that's all we have to talk about. We're gonna discuss the Bills-Chiefs game after it's done. And
speaking of the Bills-Chiefs game, the Bills get the ball and they open it up with a Josh Allen 3-yard run. So I'm
Damn,
excited
they're
to
gonna they're
see.
gonna need a lot more than that to beat the
They're gonna need a
Chiefs.
lot more
Why
of
is
that
my
to
camera so blurry?
blurry. I don't even
Damn.
know. See, look at this. This and this. That's gonna be the Super Bowl. I
Yeah,
I
it's
hope
facts.
by the end of this game I can change my picture to be an Eagle versus a Buffalo. I don't think there's a
Yeah.
picture of that on the
Well,
internet, but also I don't think
well,
it's
we'll
it's
see.
gonna
We'll
happen.
see. All
Yeah,
right,
but truthfully, it's either gonna be the Rams for the MVP or Patrick Mahomes. I guess we'll see.
Patrick Mahomes. Okay. Well, I appreciate you being
Oh
on.
my god.
Well,
Okay. Josh Allen nearly just threw a pick. This looks
oh my
really
God.
bad. He just
Okay.
almost threw a pick. Okay. We gotta go
Okay.
watch this game.
I will see you after this game's done.
See you after the game. We'll see if our predictions
I'm
are
not
right.
going to be doing as many notes this game, but we'll discuss it anyway. Okay. See you.
Yeah. See you.
Bye.